Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully you can hear and see me and my co-presenters. So welcome very much to the September event of our user webinar. This is going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones we have done because we'll actually be having a ArchiFrame super user. Very, very excited to introduce Marius Indrestrand from Støren Treindustri in Norway. A massive ArchiFrame super user, contributed to our hacks that you may have seen on our blog as well, and is here going to be looking at some of the processes around VCut. And also after that presentation, I'm going to be bringing in my colleague, Benjamin Fisher, who's also here on the call, who will be talking about some of the new features and possibly some of the fixes and improvements that have been highlighted in Marius's presentation. In terms of the way that the flow is going to go today, as you know, these are pretty sort of casual. We do want you to engage and ask questions. We're going to have a pre-recorded bit with Marius first, and then we're going to have some questions there. And then we're going to go over to Benjamin, and then also some questions for the end. So feel free to kind of digest, think about things. If you can't think of something to say immediately, there will be a chance at the end. There's also the meeting chat as well. So I can type a message right now. I popped in hello. Hopefully you've all seen that. So you can just respond to me there. And there should also be a Q&A feature. So I'm going to create a post here as well, just saying hello, and feel free to pop anything there. Just speak to me directly if you've got any issues, any problems. But without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Marius. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for the introduction. So I'm Marius Indrestrand. I work at Støren Treindustri here in Norway. Been using ArchiFrame since 2020 and started ArchiCAD approximately in the version 16. So as Kylie said, I have done a pre-recording. I will share my screen and run it. Yes. Stop me, Kylie, if you don't hear any.
Okay, we will now look into some of the VCut uses I use in my designing. This is a single plane roof with eaves. So we are going to make this eave with a VCut. So first of all, I want 148. So I just do a helper line. And then I use the polyline tool to define where I want the VCut to be. Select the two lines and uses the VCut function. I can do the same in the top. And I've now made the eaves. ArchiFrame does support several saws, but I will look into exporting to Hundegger using the BVN format. So in this type where this angle is steep, so up here, there will be trouble with the Hundegger and the file format to make it. So this will be made with a contour. For the top, this will be automatically made with a groove and then a bird's mouth. So looking into this, there will be an automatic rounding. So we have a drill bit that is 30. So in real life, this rounding will be in the Hundegger. So I will export it and open the speed cut. Okay, so in this type, there will be no effect changing this. So I will have this on contour. Also, we will start off with the dado plus saw contour. Opening this in speed cut, you will see that there is no error message, and it will have a straight lap and then do the inclined bit with the bird's mouth. For the bottom piece of the rafter, there's a straight dado, and then there will be a contour here. So I will simulate this so we can see it. Just go towards this end piece. Okay, so here you will see the drill bit. We'll offcut this piece, and then it will do a dado, making it a rounded corner. So it will have this type. So this rounding is for the BVN and Hundegger to be produced or be able to cut it. So for example, in this type of detailing, having a rounded piece here when it's a sheet that goes down and it's hidden, it's no problem. But if you're doing visible glue laminators or something, there will be probably a better solution, or at least you have to live with having this rounded piece. So we will look now into this new feature Benjamin has made. This is called lap plus contour when it's less than 90. So we're just going to copy this up and do an example. So let's say you have a really long overhang or eave. Just move this. If you send this to the Hundegger, making a dado cut here, this discharge piece will block the belt. So just exporting this and opening in speed cut. So we will now make this dado first, and so now I have them open, and this big piece will probably clog the chamber or the belt. So the same type, but made with the new function, it will now make a contour here. So the Hundegger will automatically split it into pieces. I just go towards the end. So it does the contour, and now it will start chopping this into smaller pieces automatically. It will go probably 2 times. And I have a real life recording of this I will show you later. So this is a fairly slower, if you look at the time, this is fairly slower. I think it's 4 minutes and 18 seconds. But if you need to stop the Hundegger or the Hundegger stops and you need to remove this piece manually, it's better to have it working automatically because there is no errors there. So you can look at some real life footage of the Hundegger. So this will be the first piece with the dado. So this is the smallest or the shortest eave, making it possible to only have one cut. So here you can see the one big offcut is made. So the next part I have set the speed to 4x, so you don't need to sit here for 6 minutes watching this. But the plank here is also rotated the opposite way. So now you can see it do all the small incisions. And then do dado, cutting this into 30 centimeter pieces. This was the new so we can look into some photos. So this is the first piece. You will see the rounded bit, and this is the longer one that were cut into smaller pieces. So they are exactly the same, only that one is longer than the other. This rounding will be hidden in most of our details or production ways. So we find this V-cut function that Benjamin made really suits us for our type of production. So this is how it's supposed to be with the top plate, kind of like this. So in cases where this will be visible, there should be another way to do this, or you have to manually cut out this to have it straight. So we can also look into some other ways to use the V-cut, and we can look into the different. So it's possible to use V-cut for taking small incisions for the beams. That's okay. And we can do them at the same time. So now we have V-cuts for all these. Let's drag this up and call it V-cut. One is that all the V-cuts are named end, so you don't know which one of these there is. So you just have to wing it, or you can probably read it from the anchor here. I will just remove, could actually remove the bottom part on each V-cut. Just do not have this with it. I'm just gonna clean this up. Yeah, as I said, so I found all the one and I've cleaned it up. So now we're gonna make the same type of cut, but using the groove tool. So now the planks are somewhat similar. And I'm exporting this to SpeedCut. So by opening this in SpeedCut, we can see the one with V-cut will be 4 minutes and 24 seconds. Using the groove tool, there will be 5 minutes and 38 seconds. So it's 3 grooves, so it's approximately 25 extra seconds on each, or 1 minute and 14 seconds to produce somewhat similar beam. So these are pretty similar. There are also another thing to think about, and maybe you need to talk to the Hundegger operator or your QA guy, because the Hundegger will use a different tool. So the V-cut, this will be exported as a bird's mouth. So for us, with our machine data at least, could I remove this top? But it will use the revolver. So it will take this cut with the revolver. But if you use the groove tool, there will be a lap. Just gonna jump down, and then it will use the saw blade to cut this incision instead of using the revolver. So that's something you probably should talk to the guys operating the Hundegger, or if you have some rule about this, depending on how you want to use or which tool you want to use in ArchiFrame. So it's longer, but for us, we like to use the groove. Another thing about this is that, at least in sections, if you are going to make groove into several joists or beams, so let's say I have a lot of these. They are in group. I want to do this cut. You only will select the first one. I have not found any way how I can, just gonna make this cut like this, how I can select more of the joist or beams in a section. So this is the next one. So you then have to do, every time you cut one, you will cut one more. So the last two. So there might be a way to do this, but most common for me when I'm doing roofs is anyways I do one piece, like I have this centered piece. I do this completely done, and then I use the multiply and drag it and copy it either way. So it's kind of easy anyways, but if you are using the groove tool, you can do all the pieces by selecting the whole roof. So yeah, there was always already a groove here. So if I do this, now it grooved everyone. So depending on how your machinery is set up, but you can use the V-cut for making the grooved space here. Another positive thing about the grooves is that you will actually see the millimeters here. So you know that these 3 grooves are these 3. That's from the bottom. So I can try to remove this, all these grooves, and the V-cut in the end. Not that one, but this one. So that's a way to see it. You can click AC and escape it out, and then you will know which one it is, but it's a lot of clicking. I think I had more. Yeah, I believe you can add several V-cuts if you select it multiple times. So if I remove those, that's something to think about. Yeah, so I'm adding a lot of V-cuts in the same place. I don't know if they will be exported, but I just noticed it right now. Just gonna redo this. And I would suggest that most of the work on the joist or beam before starting using VCut, at least depending on how much other work you are going to do or openings. So let's see, we have done everything, we have a few VCuts. I'm gonna cut this beam because I want to lift this one up. So one way to cut beams are drawing line, perpendicular, cut. This isn't quite how I wanted it. So you can of course remove the V-cut in both, but fairly it's better maybe to use this function. So get this to the operator and we do. Now it at least keeps the V-cut in the correct place. Also this is kind of what I wanted, having this beam up here. So there are a few times that you have to think of if doing V-cuts first and then later going into plan. Maybe you want to cut this beam somewhat here. Now it's copied down. There is one export of the V-cut we haven't looked into yet, and just removing both the V-cuts and angled. So there you have a little bit steeper roof, like 22. And we are doing a V-cut. Yeah. This might be a little bit short. I fairly use this, but I'm diving deep into V-cuts, so I will just test this type of cut and to see it in the Hundegger. I'm sorry, height-wise V-cut. So just gonna make it flat, like we are in a. So let's say you're doing a type of cut like this. If we do this V-cut, and then you have this setting. We will look how it will be in the Hundegger. So you will get a warning. So might require manual completion. I'm opening it. Okay, so I will get some errors. I don't think it, yeah, it will try. I will try to see how this cut would be made in the Hundegger. So it's almost complete. So, but this small piece here will be needed to be manually removed after Hundegger. I'm gonna try to exporting. If it's more than 90, there will be not, so it's exported perfectly. So this will have this needed to be completed, and if it's less, you will have a rounded bit. So in this case, there will be, depending on your drill bit, but for us it's 30 millimeter, there will be a rounding as this. So I think this is all the solutions and thoughts I have on using VCut. So we can end it here and see if anyone has any questions.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Marius, for that first presentation. I know there's still a little bit more to come. We actually have had loads of stuff going on over on the chat. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for jumping in, and Bethany as well, responding to some of those. So just for anyone who can't see the chat, feel free to go have a look. We've gotten some good questions about what shapes does VCut support currently? Can it be done according to a curved line? And Benjamin's response, hello, VCut currently only supports the V shape, meaning 2 connected lines, but we are planning on adding support for multiple lines, so fully polyline cuts in the future. Benjamin, do you want to add anything to that? Do you have a timeline or?
Well, we have just talked about it, and we know it would be cool to be able to draw any type of line and get the correct machinings and everything. But yeah.
But no.
That's not really any timeline.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I think Bethany was saying that if you needed to do that, you could use the set end shape, and there's instructions directly to the user manual there on the chat as well. We also had some questions about if you don't need VCut, but you just need the one line. So obviously there is the draw line function, which is the same dialogue. So it sounds like there's maybe been a little bit issues with that, but that seems to be working now. And this is an interesting question. Maybe Marius can feedback on this, on the quality of the ready piece using a groove or a VCut. Which one creates less splintering of visible pieces? Something that you've come across in your work.
Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, is there any difference in the quality of the ready piece when using groove tool or VCut? Like which one creates less splintering for the visible pieces?
It will of course depend on how sharp your drill bit is. As I showed in the example, when using VCuts, our Hundegger tries to use the revolver drill bit, the big 98 millimeter one, and if using that, you can get some splinter if that's not really sharp. But it will be the same with the saw blade, of course. If you have a dull saw, you will get splintering. So, as not being a Hundegger operator or anything, I just use the tools, or we set up the how-tos here at Støren based on what the feedback from the factory is. So for us, it's best to use the groove tool. Our Hundegger operators like to use the saw blade for this type of cut.
Okay. So it depends a little bit on the production line, the way the machinery is set up, basically.
Yes, and how accurate you have adjusted the Hundegger, of course, when changing tools from the saw blade, or as you making a groove and then you make the diagonal cut. If the millimeters are off, you will see the little 2 millimeter, 1 millimeter saw blade incision, but that's something for the guys in the factory to adjust, of course. I think the BVN file has like 4 decimals behind millimeters or 7 or something, so it's pretty accurate.
You can optimize it if you get your measurements right.
Yes.
So if anyone else has any questions now, feel free to pop on the chat, unmute yourself. You can just go for it as well. If something comes to mind, we'll be quiet for like a little bit and see if anything comes up. And if nothing comes up, then Marius, feel free to play the second little recording that you had, which goes into a little bit more detail. I think there's also another topic that will pop up in there, and then we're going to move over to Benjamin, who will show us some great new features and respond to some of the stuff that's going on with VCut at the minute. But yeah, if anyone's got anything else, please do go ahead. Okay, well, nothing coming up at the minutes. So why don't you play this and then we can see if people are just digesting and more questions come up.
Yeah, we can look in a little bit more into the VCut and groove.
Well, I have a few more examples where VCut is used or can be used. This is a project with roof elements, quite steep. I think it's 46 degrees. Steel beam and a glue laminated beam. So for HIB, I'm checking that this rounding clears the steel, and this piece is made with groove in the top. This is a VCut, and also this is a VCut. And when exporting this will be straight, but this lies a little bit. So this is a contour. So opening this in the SpeedCut program, you will see that this will be a rise and this straight. Also, one thing to think about is, let's say we're gonna adjust this plank. So it keeps the biggest one, but here the small VCut is gone. So I believe if we do this in 3D, we might see it. No, we don't see it. Anyways, remember to adjust most of the planks before doing all the VCuts, or fix it completely and then fix it with multiply, or just copy it around. And this is not VCut, but I think I would like to say it's important, at least if you do special kind or things that you haven't done before, always check with Hundegger operator or in the SpeedCut program, because in this case we have the glue laminated and the rafter. So it's kind of hard to see, but if you delete this, ArchiFrame produces this with a rounded piece. So due to the automatically side, so it's in front, and that is due to the maximum length. I think it's 168 or something, or the maximum depth before it goes from top and bottom. So this is the top and this is the bottom, and making then a round groove. But in the reality, or when exporting this to the HUD, there will be no rounding, because all the rest is cut away. So it's possible to reach this. So to see this one in the Hundegger, so this is how it will be produced. You can just skip the down cuts. So maybe it's better to see a little bit like this. So it takes this cut and it will work its way into the last cut. So this is fair with angled cuts. So in this case, ArchiFrame lies a little bit. So at least if you're unsure or testing some new stuff, I would advise to check it in SpeedCut. I could have fixed this model probably with solid element operations. To have it perfectly made, but nobody sees this little rounding, and if they do, good job. So that was quite with the V-cut, but something to think about when diving into exporting to the Hundegger.
Okay, so a little live follow-up on this one. The first thing Petteri, of course, mentioned is that you have the possibility to change the target surface in ArchiFrame. So normally I use automatic for everything, but in this case here, I have now made the same piece. This is the first one, automatic, have the rounding, but it's made with the 90 degrees in the Hundegger. This piece here, I have changed it to bottom. So I will say that the cut is going from the bottom and in. ArchiFrame now produces these square cuts. The problem is, so this is the named bottom. This is the piece. The problem for us is when using a lap here, the Hundegger will not be able to produce the square piece in some magic way. So even if it's a lap, it now doesn't know that it reached it and will now make a rounded bit here. So it's kind of opposite. So it's better to leave the little piece here or use the solid element operation to fix the model and having the actual rafter piece cut correctly. So from this, I think Benjamin can take over and look into the improvements. And
yes, yeah, I'm gonna take over the screen sharing. So yeah, are you seeing my screen correctly?
Yes, you see it now.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, well, just wanted to thank you, Marius, for your presentation, and yeah, you had a lot of good improvement suggestions, and yeah, the videos was made some, well, not too far ago, but we have made some improvements to the weak cut since they were made, and the main improvement is that you now can anchor the weak cuts or unanchor them. So before they were always anchored to the beginning or the end. So if I create two here, and then if I drag this end, they will follow. But we have now added this little checkbox that you can uncheck. So now if I create them, and then now if I drag the plank again, they will stay in place because they aren't anchored anymore. And yeah, you can change this behavior in the machining list. So if I go to this one, and then I can set it on for one of them, and now one will stay and one will move with the extending of the plank. And then yeah, we had some issues where the weak cut wasn't copied properly between planks. So if you, well, basically you can select any machining here in the machining list and copy them, and then select another plank and paste. And yeah, this did not work properly for a while, but now it should be fixed. And yeah, we're of course planning to take a look at the other things that Marius mentioned in his presentation. For example, it would be great to see the probably the exposition of these in the machining list as it works with some other machinings. Yeah, that's what I had to say about that. So
thank you very much, Benjamin. That was really interesting. And I like the fact that we got some live feedback and some kind of live improvements happening there to the software. I'm actually just going to pop something on the chat as well. There is some more wonderful hacks from Marius from our hacks blog as well. So Marius contributed about 3 or 4 of them, maybe even 5. Anyway, lots of great ideas, including, I think, a script that Marius shared. So do go check them out. Loads of knowledge there as well. And again, like Benjamin said, thank you so much for a really brilliant presentation. I think it was really great, especially to see the CNC machines, the Hundegers in action. I think that really helps bring it all together, and you can kind of see the software and the production and all the little changes and tweaks and adjustments that need to happen. And I think that was really, really interesting. But if there's any other questions, if we have anything that anyone would like to raise, feel free. Now's your chance. You can always obviously email, get in touch with me. I'm sure Marius will also be happy to answer questions directly. I can send them on if you send them to me first. And yeah, anything else that comes up, do feel free to put it on the chat or unmute yourself. I think we've got someone on the chat. It's about the Hondeger robot drive making it different again. Can you see that picture on the chat, Marius?
Yes. What does it make different again? It uses the revolver, it looks like, but that is also something I did not mention. We export everything in the BVN file, the old Hundegger file type. I know you guys have BVX 2.0. So we don't have the software to use that. And from the look of the print screen here, I think maybe this is Cambium or the newer software. So
you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Oh yeah, sorry. It is in Cambium, yeah, right. With a like a robot code.
We export WeCat quite differently in to Cambium because it's a complete another exporter. But
so in the export the BVX to the robot code, I have no roundings. I see, so it should be fine. It's the same cut as the print screen above in the chat. It's like a connection.
Yeah, nice.
Looks good.
Actually, the final result connection I have also here. One moment.
Yeah,
so
I like the
bottom
Cambium.
piece.
Yeah, it looks like this is what we made for connection.
Nice.
In English.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, for the BVN that Marius uses, we, unfortunately had to make a lot of workarounds, combining different machinings, etc., to get a good result. But BVX and Cambium, it was a bit more straightforward, as it is a newer format.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always trying to make our software as widely works with as many different ways as possible. So always always having to do those workarounds and stuff, but we get there in the end. We also had a question on the chat about learning more about V cuts. You mentioned briefly in your presentation. Any wise words? V cuts, rafters, Benjamin?
I mean, don't really understand the question, but so learn more about how it is produced to the CNC, or just how to create it in ArchiCAD. I mean, the VCAD function you should be able to use on any plank in any orientation, so it doesn't I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a rafter or anything else. And yeah, I think what you, Marius, showed in the beginning, that was to rafters, I guess, in the first video. Yeah.
Well, all my examples are rafter.
Yeah.
It's kind of only place we commonly use V-cuts. It's for the eaves, overhang. All the rest is mostly done with grooves or straight cuts, normal angled cuts.
Yeah, okay, so obviously, like depending on the design and the process, it does. Obviously, it might vary from place to place, but yeah, like Marius, you said in your example, actually the V cuts and rafters are sort of that's where you use them. That's where they go together, because that's where you need to make all those different sort of cuts and to make the eaves and everything hang together. So yeah, which I imagine would be the case in a lot of other places as well, because of the complexity of roof modeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a question for Marius. This rounding that we see in a lot of places in the corner of the V-cut, is it? Is there a possibility to cut around it completely, or will there always be this rounding? If you have like a smaller drill bit, maybe it's not noticed as much, or.
I think last year when we worked together on making this, I do not recall that we found any good way to actually get the Hundegger to produce those type of cuts with the saw blade. At least not in the BVN format. But I will look into it again now after one more year of experience. And there might be some setting or some function that will allow us to do that. But the closest one is the last example where we have this height-wise cut, where it leaves the little piece. But surely it should be a possibility to remove that too.
Yeah, nice to hear. I see Mitchell have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to just ask more about, like bird's mouth cuts, which that's what we call them in Australia. But you refer to them as V-cuts, so
yeah,
I'm not 100% sure how we sort of like don't view them in the same sort of like
it is
arena.
There is something called, I mean, in the CNC, on the CNC side, there's also bird's mouth that we talk about. There were some
here that we use trusses all the time. Roof trusses are big in Australia, huge. There's 3 companies in Australia that have got engineering programs, and you become a licensed fabricator and that. And like rafters and/or pitched roofs aren't used very much at all. Only in certain situations where you've got like a cathedral ceiling or with exposed rafters or something along those lines.
Okay, I think maybe Marius can correct me, but in the BVN or on the BVN side or in Cambium, is it that bird's mouth you cannot, it's always 90 it's kind of a V-cut, but it's always 90 degrees. You can, I mean, you can rotate it around, but this, like the angle between is always 90
Those
degrees.
2 are set. Yeah, I believe so. I printed a print from the Hundegger.
Yeah, and with the V-cut you can adjust these, like these angles, but bird's mouth.
Yeah,
is,
well, it's got to be in line with the pitch of the roof.
Yeah, there's a really
So
good
it sits-
picture.
Sits on the top
On the-
plate properly.
Yeah, there's a really good picture in the chat. I don't know if you can see that, Mitchell, or whether Marius, you can share your screen again just so we can see the picture. But you said that was a screenshot from Hundegger, which shows images of the different kind of birds' mouths.
I'm
there.
not trying to be a smart aleck or anything. I just thought
Yeah.
I'd raise the issue because, you know,
Yeah,
as a carpenter, I'm very interested in all of the latest developments in BIM and Revit and ArchiCAD and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as in construction or as a carpenter too, bird's mouth is the notch in the rafter that lets it sit on the wall, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's the name when you're out on the construction site. But here and in this and the text that Benjamin has in ArchiFrame, it uses slot plus bird's mouth. It's referred to this section, which type of tool it uses in the Hundegger. So.
Yeah. Oh, look,
So these
Hundeggers
are the
huge over here. So many truss plants use Hundeggers, it's not funny. But there's also other varieties. There's razors.
Yeah.
They're American sourced. They're from Western Australia. And the other company that's huge on truss plant and timber production equipment is Multinails. They're an Australian-based company, Australian-owned company. They're really big on machinery now. Like,
Yeah.
they've got a new saw called the Peacemaker, and like the other machine that attaches to it's called the Peace Giver, and that actually picks the pieces of timber out of, you know, they got all the different lengths in a like, you know, rack, and that actually goes and picks the different lengths out according to what's got to be cut and all that. It's really just like a Hundegger, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of our users use different sort of CNCs. I mean, Hundegger is quite popular. Then you've got other machines, Weinmann, Essetria, Brandeck. And we provide support for a lot of those. On the ArchiFrame product page, there's a list of all the different CNCs that we integrate with. But we can also add more support as well if we get users who are using a specific machinery. But I think that picture that Mario shared is really useful for anyone who's interested in the sort of like the notch, the bird's mouth, which is, like you said, the raft where the roof rafter sits. I think that's a good picture of that. And it's something that we have actually also, you know, something that we do stumble upon a lot in the ArchiFrame marketing as well, is that obviously different places will have slightly different terms for the same notches and for the same joints. And the cultural side of thing comes as well. But no, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought it up. Was there anyone else, any other questions or comments? Is everyone digesting the wonderful world of V-cuts? But yeah, I really want to say it's a really good one. Really lovely to see so many of you, and also really great to have these conversations. I really appreciate people asking questions, sharing their experiences. That's what it's all about. Obviously, Marius, super appreciate you coming over during a busy period to help us out and present some of your workflows. Do please look at the chat, look at the questions and answers, some really great knowledge there, and also the stuff about the hacks as well. Do check that out. Benjamin, fantastic. Thank you for popping in and giving us the kind of direct from the development page, what is happening. When were these changes made to ArchiFrame? So what was the latest version that these are now available?
I'm not quite sure actually.
Couple of weeks, I think, week ago.
Yeah, I think we released 2 weeks ago, the latest.
Yeah, so if you haven't updated your ArchiFrame in the last couple of weeks, go to your download area, get the newest version, download it, and start checking it out. And yeah, I will end the presentation now. This will also go online, but if you have any questions, do feel free to email me or just pop any questions over on LinkedIn as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Cheers.